Lab 2.07. We're going to keep building up our tic-tac-toe game to see if we can't make some more progress on this. And in this one, we're using the while loop that we covered in class in order to give our players more turns. So both 0 and X will be able to play. So what we're going to do, go ahead and scroll down because you can figure out the rest. For the tic-tac-toe game, we are going to add a couple features. The first one is because there are 9 spaces on the board, we want to allow the users to keep playing 9 times, so until they fill up the board with X's and O's. And we're not going to worry about making or checking to see if someone's won. We're just going to give everyone 9 turns to fill up the board, whether or not someone wins or not. So we're going to make a while loop that allows them to play 9 times. We're also going to use a variable to decide whose turn it is. So we're going to have X's and O's, and we will run certain code depending on whose turn it is, so both X and O can play. And then the same code that we wrote before will allow them to pick a location on the board and update it accordingly. So I actually have my code from Lab 2.06 where we started to build tic-tac-toe. I already have that out. So that way we can just update it. So first thing we're going to do is we are going to make it so there are 9 total turns. So to do this, we're going to need a couple things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave the code up here the same as before. But right underneath board, I'm going to make a variable called turn. And this is just going to keep track of what turn number we are. So we're going to start off on turn 1, and we are going to go up to turn 9. So just a variable that keeps track of how many turns have gone by, and this way we know what turn we're currently on. We're going to start off at turn 1, and we're going to stop the loop when we get to turn 9. And then the other thing we want to do is we want to be able to track whether it's X's turn or O's turn. So I'm going to make another variable called xTurn, and I'm just going to set it equal to true. And the way this is going to work is when xTurn is true, it'll be X's turn, and when X's turn is false, it'll be O's turn. So I'll just keep changing this variable xTurn from true to false, depending on whether it's X's turn or O's turn. And then I'm still going to keep the code here to print the board at the start of the game. And then I'm going to hold on to this for now. We're going to use that in a second. So we want this game to repeat for 9 turns. So we're going to use a while loop for that. And remember, a while loop is just going to keep repeating code over and over and over again until the condition next to it is false. So right up here we have a variable to track turns. So as long as that variable turn is below 9, we want the users to keep playing. So while turn is less than 9, we're going to keep playing. So we'll just put our code underneath this while loop that tracks how many turns. So then for each turn, the code's going to look something like this. The first thing we want to do, if we want to see if it's X's turn or if it's O's turn. And so we'll do that pretty simple like this. We'll go if X turn. And we could write something like this, if X turn equals true, right? We actually don't have to do that because remember, the if is going to run if the thing next to it evaluates to true. And because we're writing X turn equals true or X turn equals false, we don't need to actually write this statement here. This statement reads if X turn is already set to true, so it literally reads if true. So we don't actually need to test for equality there. So if X turn is true, which it currently is, that means it's X's turn, so we could do something like this. Actually, we already have the code for it. We already have the code written right here. We can say, we can ask the user to pick a place to put their X, and then we can replace that with an X and print out the board again. There's going to be a couple other things we want to do, though, so we want to add to this code. This will replace the number on the board with an X. It'll print out the board. The next thing we want to do is we want to make sure that we keep track of the turns as we go through. So after everyone takes a turn, we're just going to update the counter turn. So turn is now equal to turn plus 1. That will add 1 to the current variable turn. So turn will now be 2, and that will signify that 1 turn has passed, and now we'll repeat to go through turn 2. The other thing we want to do is we want to change whose turn it is. So after X takes a turn, it should be Y's turn. And remember, we're using this variable X turn to just see if it's X's or Y's turn. When X turn is true, that means X gets a turn. So after X turn takes a turn, we're just going to change X turn to be false. And that is going to give O a chance to take a turn. So how do we give O a turn? Well, this while loop will just repeat over and over and over again. So if it's X's turn, this code runs. If it's not, the code under the while loop, not the while loop, the code underneath the else will run. So if X turn, we run this. If it's not X's turn, it must be Y's turn. And pretty much the code is going to look the same. I'm actually going to copy and paste it and just make the updates for Y. So the first thing is that place equals, where would you like to place your, not Y, O, X's and O's for tic-tac-toe. I should make this capital X. Where would you like to place your O? I'm going to replace whatever they pick with the letter O. I'm going to print out the board. I'm still going to add a turn to my turn counter. And then the only other thing I need to change is after O takes a turn, that means it's then going to be X's turn. So I'll set X turn equal to true. So you can see by changing X turn every time through the loop, the first time through the loop, it'll be X's turn. The second time through the loop, it'll be O's turn. Then X turn will turn true again, so it'll be X's turn. X turn will turn false, so it'll be O's turn. And then it'll keep going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And if I've done this correctly, I should get a game that has 2 turns. So let's just check it and make sure I made no errors. So it's X's turn. Where would you like to place your piece? Let me place it at, position number 1. That turns into an X. Oh, where would you like to put your piece? I'll put it at position 2. And you can see there, we're filling it out. So we can keep playing. It works perfectly. Couple other things we might want to add to this, but we don't have to do it yet. You notice if it's X's turn, he can overwrite O's turn. That's not ideal. So we can fix those as we go further in our game, but we don't have to worry about them yet. Just getting these 2 turns down is great progress for this tic-tac-toe game. And that's it for Lab 2.7.